Boris Johnson has told BBC Look North that immigration in Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire would be reduced if Britain left the European Union. The former London mayor is leading the campaign calling for Leave voters to back in next week's referendum. He also denied claims made by some in the Remain camp that companies such as Siemens wouldn't invest in the area if we left the EU. He's one of the most familiar figures in the Vote Leave campaign. So how does Boris Johnson respond to claims that quitting the EU could put thousands of jobs in our area at risk?
I don't see any reason why that should be the case at all. I know that Siemens is one of the companies involved, and I just point out that Siemens, as a great German company, has actually been based here in our country since the mid-19th century, since about 1854 from memory.
But the UK chief executive of Siemens has said it will be better for business if we remain in the European Union. Now, if you work for Siemens in Hull or Lincoln, who do you believe? A man who runs a multi-billion-pound business or a career politician?
Well, the Remain campaign are, I think, you know, they've looked at what's happening. They feel that they're losing the arguments, and they are.
It's clear he believes immigration will be the issue that decides the referendum.
I'm pro-immigration, massively. City I used to run, London, benefited from immigration, but we should be able to control it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because what happens to all the agricultural workers in Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire? Yeah. What happens to them if we leave? Are you going to send them back?
No. Their rights are protected under... They have acquired rights, obviously, under the Vienna Convention and various other treaties. There'd be no threat to their position.
Can I just show you this clip? It's from a farmer, Lincolnshire farmer called Mark Tinsley. Have a look at that.
The food industry needs to... It's very important, the food industry, that we retain the opportunity to employ people from overseas. And the problem is, as we all know, is that there are social pressures as a result of that. But that isn't the EU's fault. That is a succession of governments that haven't invested in the schools and hospitals and housing that's necessary.
Well, I think he's bang on in his second point, in the sense that what we need to do is have a system of control. So industries like agriculture, my family used to be involved in, of course you need to have seasonal labour, in fact labour all year round. You might need it from overseas. Everybody understands that. But where there's a specific demand, where they have a job to come to, people can come in. And that was, by the way, what we were promised in that renegotiation.
Put a figure on it. How many would come into somewhere like Lincolnshire?
Whatever is actually needed to do the job.
Boris Johnson's opponents claim leaving the EU would damage the economy, meaning there'd be less money for things like schools and hospitals. You admit there's been underinvestment in public services. If you're a part of government after June 23rd, can you guarantee you'll invest in areas, parts of Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire, where some say migration has put a strain on public services?
Yeah, what we'll be able to do is take back control.
Is that a yes? You will invest in our area?
We will have. Yes, it is. You'd have a huge Brexit dividend for this country. Plus, you take back control of your immigration policy with an Australian-style points-based system, so that you're able to decide on the basis of the needs of the Lincolnshire economy or whatever. And that is the way forward.
Both sides have one full week of campaigning to go until the nation has its say.